Welcome everyone to Behavior Code Podcast. I am Yogi Chris, PhD. I'm interviewing Shamir Khan, a young man, princely in his demeanor, and has gone through really rapid transformation. I playfully was titling this on Instagram and Facebook, Trance-Formation, as in two different words. And then it's a change. So you went through rapid change. You took some even one-on-one coaching after I had communicated with you for many months. And finally you went from zero to hero, just came out for a boot camp. I think it was the June camp, really was the first one, which was the beginning of the Lion's Den process. Then July, you may have skipped a month, and then you did August Beast Camp here at Base 1. And then you just did September Beast Camp also. So you've gone through rapid transformation. It's never about where you are. It's about, are you on the path and what's been going on the path? You're definitely on the path, and what's been going on in your path. That's what I want to know. Shamir, how's it going, brother?
Consistently putting myself in a trance every day. There's even days where I feel as if, the thoughts are running. I still manage to find a way to do it, at some point in the day. I channel.
What do you mean by the thoughts are running?
Any kind of, the practice of no mind.
Mm-hmm.
Just the difficulty of that. At times, maybe there's more pressure than there should be.
Are you practicing no mind, or where did you pick up that practice?
From AZD and a book that he had recommended to me called The Art of the Peaceful Warrior.
Art of the Peaceful Warrior.
Yes.
Okay, so you've been practicing no mind for the last 4 or 5 months, but thoughts are running sometimes, and that's a lot of awareness. How old are you, brother?
22 years old.
22. I don't think I ever used the phrase the mind until I was 28. So you're in the language and understandings. That right there is an advantage, evolutionarily. So
thank you, brother.
Yeah, it's the truth. I need to recognize it, because to deny it will create a resistance in me. You got to acknowledge what's there. So, okay, cool. So thoughts are running, and you practice no mind. And right now you're petitioning, getting signatures, making a killing at it, really, in California to recall Gavin Newsom. This is towards the end of quarantine, I hope, because election's happening. And so why I think that's going to make a difference, I don't know, because I don't know. But for some reason, I think that's going to make a difference. If it doesn't, I live on an island of sanity here at Base 1. Tell everyone about Base 1 and the contrast. You're out there with the people. You interact with the people every day. More so, everybody's in quarantine. Nobody's interacting with anybody. You interact with hundreds of people a day. And yet you come to Base 1. Tell us about the distinctions you've made.
It seems, well, no, it doesn't seem. What happens is I have to shapeshift in order to be successful in that kind of environment, as opposed to the way that I have to operate at Base 1. It's almost as if when I come back to Base 1, I have to remind myself of just little ways to bring myself back. AZD said recently he hates the term present moment. I just don't know how else to describe what I'm experiencing, but it's almost as if when I'm at base, it's much easier to center myself.
Yeah, for sure. There's less suppression. There's no suppression, really. Base 1, there's no suppression of your expression, and yet there's a lot of checking of your sloth or your laziness. And usually don't come together, because if somebody's easygoing and doesn't suppress your communication, they're not going to make sure you're disciplined. If someone is very disciplined and makes sure you're disciplined, they are actually suppressing you in some way. They're suppressive. So to find a community where you're not suppressed and you're held accountable for your discipline, it's a healthy right in the middle there. That's where the warrior monk is. And it's very interesting, because you said the word shapeshift. Everybody listens to this, and everybody should listen to this podcast. So when we share it and I tag you, you should share it too. Let your people know this is great. So you said shapeshift. What did you mean? You have to shapeshift out there a lot when you're interacting with people, getting them to sign petitions.
Throughout the day, I'm very conscious of the words that I use. As we say, our words are our worlds.
Mm-hmm.
However, I have to speak so much when I'm petitioning. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Trying to stay conscious of every little thing, because I get into little habits. I used to wait tables, and all of it is just like
Oh,
routines that we memorize, and we say things that we don't
right.
mean. We try to sound more sincere than we actually are. And I tend to fall into those habits when I'm petitioning. But it's almost as if it has to happen because things are moving so fast. So that thought that arises in that moment of be more conscious of what's happening, it helps, but also it takes me away from that moment of what I have to do there. So I almost have to shapeshift into somebody that speaks a lot more and speaks the way that people out there speak.
Mm. What are some of the differences in the way that people out there speak and the way that people in here speak in Base One Temple, Stoic Temple, San Jose?
People out there say everything that they think of,
Uh-huh.
and a lot of conversation to me, like it's getting past the thought of like, why did you even tell me that? Um,
Uh-huh.
and getting to their level and being like, oh, okay, let me engage with you here, and have fun with it. Rather than, because the first thought that comes up is judgment a lot of times, because I mean the process that I'm on, the things that I'm learning is so different than the way people out there operate. um, and it's, as we say, when you do beast, you can see right away the second somebody opens their mouth the kind of lifestyle they live.
This is true. Yeah, this is very powerful. This is true. There's no hiding when you go through this process. And there is some hiding to the degree that you're still unaware. So it's a game of awareness. Uh, that's what it seems to be to me. So, well, very cool. So this is the first time I think I've had you on behavior code, and which is the name because it's the code of behavior, right? It's like you just flip the words. It's how do you behave? It's a status, and let's say beasting up and beasting out in your life is a behavior, and there's a code. I'm about everybody saw Demigod. Demigod, I haven't had on the podcast yet, but he just got the tattoo, the coat of arms. Motherfucker beat me to it. I wanted to do it. I was waiting for him to get another tattoo. I didn't know he was going to get the coat of arms. I got really upset at him actually. And then, but then I looked at my coat of arms and it's very interesting. My coat of arms is a tiger. His is a lion. But everywhere his is black, mine is white. And everywhere mine is white, his is black. I didn't know the artist did that or why he did that. And it's going to be common. Apparently Fernando's a tiger. Arash is a lion. I don't know how many lions and tigers there's going to be, but it's very interesting that I'm going to be like, it's like he's the yin to my yang is what I told Cortez. He really liked that. So hopefully we get Demigod on the show. He's probably going to beast out on the show and just say, all kinds of militant things. So what would you want to tell people? Josiah just came to the camp. Trent LAIR just came to the camp. We got some, spectators on Instagram. I don't know who's on Facebook. Looks like we got some spectators on Facebook. So a lot of the people are going to catch this afterwards. Spotify, iTunes, YouTube. And if you're on those platforms, you should definitely subscribe if you haven't yet. And, to go out to the IMC newsletter. So maybe a couple dozen people there are going to look at it. It's really going to be a time capsule, an archive. Like my testimony with Arash from 5 years ago when I first met him, I was a repressed dork that was also really flexible. I could do a handstand and so on. And really smart, right? I had a master's degree at the time. But it was painful to hear me talk for myself. Everybody else gets a kick out of it. They love it. But that's like going over to my parents' house and my mom and dad, they always have to play my old wrestling videos for whatever girl I bring over. It's like, I don't want to see that. Like it's kind of like that, but it's an amazing time capsule because I'm sure I'll come to really love it. Right. And that's kind of what these are for the guys that I bring on. I hope so. So what would you say to anybody that hears this, that hasn't done a boot camp with AZD? What do they need to know?
I'm going to try to find something besides you think you know, but you have no idea.
Yeah. So
it's
speak from the heart.
As you say, he puts you in a trance when you're there live. Watching him speak online is very powerful, yes. However, when you're sitting there and you have so much admiration for this person, because maybe you've been watching him on YouTube for however long, That's what it was for me.
Yeah.
Or I mean, he's helped you through certain situations
Yeah.
just based off videos. You sit there in front of this person, and it's like the second you make eye contact, we were talking about acknowledgement. Acknowledgement is everything.
Yeah.
The second you feel acknowledged by this person in person, um, it's it's a moment of fuck, man.
Transcendence.
Yes, yes, that's amazing. And I don't know at what point in his journey that he developed that skill to just make that eye contact with the person and put him in a trance. I don't know whether it's through the hypnosis or, I mean, I'd assume that's what it was. But
I mean, hypnosis, like what he would teach is hypnosis is good communication. He was only recently certified in hypnotherapy or whatever by Anthony Jacquin. But you know, his conclusions at the end of that training, which by the way was a 70-hour training that he completed in 6 sessions. The guy just gave him the certification that hypnosis was just really good communication. And so I would imagine, and since I met him before he did this hypnotherapy, he had I remember from my first time meeting him, those eyes. And now understanding the tech of acknowledging qualities about people to bring them out is, you know, then it just comes down to their ethics and how much awareness they have. Are they can't acknowledge something they're unaware of. So you got to raise an awareness of people's personalities and, you know, what they're needing and, you know, so many things. That's where it's masterful. You see how masterful he is when you try to emulate or when you try to replicate it for yourself, which is good. Right, you know, so sorry, please continue. Yeah.
my first experience at a boot camp by far brought out the biggest change so far in any boot camp. I mean, I attended the next 3 in a row, and every one of them was incredible. But that first initial moment of acknowledgement, where he takes a second and gets curious
Mm-hmm.
and starts asking questions. Um, there's so much emotion built up in that moment, and then whenever he finishes his analysis, or I don't know how else to put it, it's like a release. And anything that you've been avoiding, any kind of improvement that you've been putting off, it's in that moment you understand that you have no choice but to do that. That's the way I can describe it was for me.
Yeah, and he knows that because when I first met him, he called himself AD5E, the fifth element, which was a catalyst for change. So he's a catalyst for change, which uses itself up in the process, so it doesn't exist in the result, and it didn't exist in the ingredients. It was just part of the process. So yeah, you're changed, and you're gonna keep changing, man. This is great. And if there's any comments or questions, you should have already asked it because we're right available. Anybody on Zoom, if you want to unmute, we'll give it a second and go ahead.
Hey, I got a quick question for Shamir.
Yeah. Wait,
So,
this is IMC Cygnus, Josiah from Hawaii, and we've had him on the show too before, flow artist, so and bootcamp graduate. What's up, Josiah?
so when you talk about shape shifting, is there like a certain process that you go through? Like, for example, before going to sign for petitions, is there like a process that you personally do for yourself for shape shifting, or is it just kind of like immediate?
It's not immediate. A lot of times I take a second, and whether it's through oming or at times it's, I like to tell myself that the shape that I'm using out in petitioning is the cobra. Like I have to be real, you know, I have to, sneaky is not the right word, but I have to, my words have to be real sharp. I feel like a cobra when I'm out there.
Yeah, you got to be
So
snake tongued. You're
yes,
muted.
exactly.
Yeah.
So in that moment, I'll imagine a cobra's face. Sometimes I'll try to look like a cobra. I can't sit there and break out the cobra pose on the asphalt. If I could, I would. Maybe I can. But yeah, I do what I can to feel that in the moment. Sometimes when I'm walking to the Walmart or wherever I'm in front of, I'll imagine a cobra coming up to me slowly. And I'll imagine that fourth wall that Yogi Chris was talking about the other day,
Yeah.
that you have to create. And eventually I'll imagine a group of cobras behind me as I approach the stand.
That's
I mean,
rad.
sometimes I'll do that just taking a walk, but yeah.
Very cool. Awesome. There it is. Okay, everybody, thanks for showing up. And if you caught this on Facebook or Instagram, definitely share it, comment, show your support, subscribe, all the good stuff. And we'll see you on the next episode. I don't recall who's next week, but it's going to be a good one. Namaste. Os.